Somewhere in America right now, a guy is signing paperwork to trade in the Porsche SUV he paid $118,000 for. He babied it, garaged it, and the dealer just slid him a number that's less than what a loaded Honda Civic costs today. He's going to nod, sign, and drive home in something sensible, quietly sick to his stomach. And here's the part that should make you lean in, that Porsche is about to hit a used lot near you for under 30 grand. This is a video about 7 luxury SUVs that financially destroyed their first owners and turned into the best kept secrets on the used market for everyone smart enough to come second. Number 1 will genuinely change how you look at a dealer lot. Let's count down. Number 7, Audi Q7. Let's start with the one nobody suspects, because the Q7 doesn't scream money the way the others on this list do. It just quietly costs a fortune when it's new, and then quietly gives almost all of that money away. A 2018 Audi Q7 in the 3.0T Prestige, trim, stickered, right around $73,700 when it rolled off the truck. That's a serious SUV. Supercharged V6, standard quattro, all-wheel drive, a cabin that made the Germans look like they were trying. Today, that exact truck has a fair purchase value hovering around $16,850. Some clean examples with average miles trade closer to 20 grand. Either way, the first owner watched more than $50,000 evaporate over 5 years. IC Cars pegs the Q7's 5-year depreciation at right around 61%. 61% on a nearly $80,000 vehicle. I had a customer bring one in last spring, a 2017 he'd picked up for $18,500. He was terrified, thought he'd bought a money pit with a fancy badge. I put it on the lift, and honestly, the bones were good. The 3.0 supercharged V6 is a stout engine. What you're really buying here is the risk, and I'll be straight with you about it, the air suspension. When those air struts fail, and on high mileage examples, they eventually do, you're looking at $700 to $1,200 per corner. If you go OEM, that's the tax on all that plush ride quality. If you're shopping one, do this. Park it, walk away for 2 minutes, come back and look at all 4 corners. If it's sagging on one side, the air system is already talking to you. Then start it cold and listen for a chain rattle on startup. The timing components and water pump are the other big ticket items. A clean Q7 with service records is a genuine $70,000 luxury SUV for the price of a base compact. A neglected one is a lesson. Know which you're buying. But if you think a 60% haircut is brutal, the next one turns depreciation into a spectator sport. Number 6, BMW X5 xDrive 50i. Now we're into V8 territory. The xDrive 50i's badge on the back of an X5 meant one thing when it was new. You skipped the 6-cylinder and paid for the big twin turbo motor. A 2019 X5 xDrive 50, I carried a sticker around $76,000. Once you added the packages BMW buyers always add. It never came cheap. Today, KBB puts a clean 2019 xDrive 50i at a fair purchase price of roughly $27,700 with plenty trading in the mid-20s. That's a 47% fall in 3 years alone. The original owner ate close to $50,000 in value to be the first person to sit in those seats. Here's the honest catch, and it's a big one, so write it down. That V8 is BMW's N63 family, and the N63 has a reputation among mechanics, not a good one. Oil consumption, valve stem seals, timing chain guides, turbo issues. When one of these needs real work, it needs the engine dropped or the whole top end opened up and the bills climb into 4 figures fast. I've turned away more than one buyer at the door on these because the timing guides were already ticking. So the play on an X5 V8 is discipline. You want a documented history, receipts, not promises. If a seller can show you the oil's been changed religiously, and ideally that the valve seals have already been addressed, you've got a genuinely spectacular machine for the money. If they shrug when you ask about maintenance, walk. This is the one on the list where a good example is a steal and a bad one is a catastrophe, and the difference between them is a stack of paper. Buy the paper trail, not the car. Number 5, Lincoln Navigator. Let me tell you about the customer who talked me into respecting this thing. Big guy, contractor, came in 2 years ago driving a 2018 Navigator Black Label he'd bought, used it for $29,000. When it was new, that Black Label stickered at $95,500. Read that again. A $95,000 American luxury SUV, and he stole it for under $30,000. The 2018 redesign was Lincoln's shot at the big leagues, and they landed it. Aluminum body, a twin-turbo 3.5-liter EcoBoost V6, making 450 horsepower, a 10-speed automatic, and a cabin with 30-way seats that feel like a first-class recliner. When it was new, this thing genuinely embarrassed the Cadillac Escalade, and it depreciated like the badge on the hood was radioactive. A base 2018 Premier that stickered around $76,000 now trades in the low 20s. The loaded ones lost 60 to 70 grand. And here's why this one earns a spot as a smart buy and not just a cautionary tale. Mechanically, it's the most sensible thing on this list so far. That EcoBoost V6 and the 10-speed are shared in spirit with Ford's truck lineup, which means parts are everywhere and any competent shop can work on it. No exotic air strut nightmare pricing. The known weak point is cam phasers on the 3.5 EcoBoost, which can rattle on a cold start. So when you test drive one, start it stone cold and listen for a diesel-like clatter in the first few seconds. Gone after startup and you're probably fine. Persistent and you negotiate hard or move on. For someone who wants 3 rows, real towing capacity, and a cabin that shames vehicles twice its used price, the Navigator is a ridiculous amount of luxury per dollar. It's the sleeper of the American luxury world. Number 4, Mercedes-Benz GLS 550. If the Navigator is American excess, the GLS 550 is the German answer, and it fell just as hard. The GLS 550 was the V8 flagship of Mercedes' full-size SUV line before they renamed and redesigned it. A 2018 GLS 550 4MATIC stickered at $95,945. Nearly 100 grand of 3-pointed star prestige with a bi-turbo V8, air suspension, and a back seat that world leaders have been chauffeured in. Today, KBB lists that same 2018 GLS 550 at a fair purchase price around $26,700. The math is almost cruel. The first owner lost right around $70,000. I want to be fair to this one because the GLS is actually built like a vault compared to some of its neighbors on this list. The twin-turbo V8 is a torque monster, and kept up, it's durable. The problem is that everything Mercedes touches costs Mercedes money to fix. The Airmatic air suspension is the recurring villain. Compressors and air struts wear out, and when they do, a full system can run into the thousands. Same story with the electronics. There's a lot of them, and they don't get cheaper as the truck ages. The GLS is the pick for someone who wants to arrive somewhere and have people assume they're doing far better than they are. Shopping tip: get it on a lift and check the air struts for weeping oil and cracking rubber, and make sure it sits dead level after being parked overnight. And factor a real independent Mercedes specialist into your ownership budget from day one, not the dealer who will happily send you a 5-figure estimate for something a good indie fixes for a third of that. Buy the GLS with your eyes open in a maintenance fund, and you're driving a $100,000 Mercedes for Camry money. If this straight talk is saving you from a 5-figure mistake, do me a favor and hit subscribe. I've got more videos coming on exactly which luxury cars are landmines and which are lottery tickets. Now, the top 3. And number 3 is the SUV that turned depreciation into a punchline. Number 3, Maserati Levante. Nothing on this list falls faster or harder than a Maserati Levante, and it's not particularly close. When it launched, the Levante was Maserati's swing at the Porsche Cayenne, an Italian luxury SUV with a Ferrari built adjacent V6, gorgeous sheet metal, and a starting price that climbed well past $90,000 on the loaded trims. A new 2020 Levante ran around $89,000 in typical spec, and then reality set in. IC cars measured the Levante's 5-year depreciation at 63.4%, worse than the entire luxury midsize SUV class. KBB shows a 2019 Levante with a fair purchase price around $19,000. $19,000. A 2022 model has already shed 57%, over $35,000 in just 3 years, down to about $26,600. The people who bought these new didn't lose 50 grand. Some of them lost 70, and they lost it fast. So why does it drop like it's cursed? 2 reasons, and you need to hear both. 1, it wears the Trident, and the Trident scares people on the used market. Everyone assumes it's a maintenance grenade. 2, some of the parts under that beautiful body are shared with humbler machines. The platform has Chrysler-era bones, and the diesel that was sold elsewhere used a motor you'd also find in a Ram. That reputation gutted resale. Here's the flip side that makes it interesting for you. That parts sharing means some maintenance is less exotic than the badge suggests. But the electronics, the air suspension, and anything Italian-specific will still bite. This is the ultimate heart overhead purchase. Do not buy a Levante as your only car or your commuter. Buy it as a stunning second car with a warranty if you can get one after a specialist has inspected it top to bottom. It's the most car you can put in your driveway for 20 grand and the most likely to make you regret it if you skip the inspection. Both things are true. Number 2, Land Rover Range Rover Sport. This is the icon. The Range Rover Sport is the SUV that says money, parked outside every luxury hotel, in every music video, in every doctor's parking spot. And it might be the single most reliable depreciation machine ever built. When new, a loaded Range Rover Sport, the supercharged trims, the SVR, sailed past $80, $90, even $100,000. Even a mainstream 2022 Sport that stickered around 70 grand has already lost 54%, over $38,000 in 3 years. Go back to the 2018 and 2019 supercharged models, and they're sitting on lots right now, well under $30,000. The first owners of these routinely lost $50,000 to $70,000. One depreciation analysis of the full-size Range Rover found it losing 68% of its value in 3 years and 74% in 5. That's not a car losing value, that's a controlled demolition. Now I have to be the mechanic here because I love these and I fear them at the same time. The Range Rover Sport is, historically, one of the most expensive vehicles to own that you can buy. The air suspension fails, the electronics throw tantrums. On the 5.0-liter supercharged V8, the timing chains are a known failure point. Owners have reported bills over $3,000, and if a chain lets go badly, it can take the engine with it. Real owners have reported transmissions refusing to shift and the truck jerking on the road. This is why they're cheap. It's not a secret bargain the market missed. The market priced in the pain. So who should actually buy one? Someone who understands they're buying a lifestyle, not an appliance. If you can find a well-maintained example, budget several thousand a year for upkeep, and keep a trusted Land Rover specialist on speed dial, you will drive the most desirable looking SUV on the road for the price of a used minivan. If that maintenance budget scares you even a little, and it should, this is your sign to look one spot higher on this list. Because number 1 gives you almost the same badge prestige with a fraction of the heartbreak. Number 1, Porsche Cayenne. Here it is, the one I hinted at in the very first sentence, and the one I genuinely tell my own brother to buy. Let me give you the number that started this whole video. A 2015 Porsche Cayenne Turbo, stickered at $117,610, 117 grand. Today, KBB puts that exact truck at a fair purchase price around $25,000, and clean turbos trade in the high 20s. The first owner lost over $90,000. And even the sensible V6 Cayenne, which stickered in the low 60s, now averages around $25,000 to $26,000 used. This is a real Porsche, the SUV that literally saved the company and paid for the sports cars, sitting on a used lot for less than a new economy car. Now here's why the Cayenne is number 1 and not just another cautionary tale. Of every vehicle on this list, this is the one where the value to risk math actually works in your favor if you buy the right one. The second generation Cayenne, roughly 2011 through 2018, ditched a lot of the problems that plagued the very early models. And the smart money pick isn't even the turbo. It's the base V6 or the Cayenne S. Skip the wild horsepower and you get a Porsche engineered chassis, a bulletproof feeling cabin that still looks modern a decade later, and driving dynamics that make every other SUV on this list feel like furniture. This thing corners like Porsche was embarrassed to build an SUV and overcompensated. Because they were and they did. Let me walk you through buying one, because this is where people mess up. First, the air suspension. Same story as the others, so check that it sits level and rises properly through its settings. But a lot of Cayennes came with conventional steel springs, and honestly, for reliability, the steel sprung ones are the ones I'd chase. Second, get a pre-purchase inspection from an actual Porsche specialist. Non-negotiable. It'll cost you a couple $100, and it's the best money you'll spend. Third, look for service records showing the coolant system and water pump have been maintained. On the V6 and V8, that's your main watch item. And fourth, my pro tip, hunt for the Cayenne that belonged to an older, wealthy owner who drove it twice a week, and dealerships serviced everything. Low miles, garaged, every stamp in the book. Those cars exist all over the used market because these were rich people's third cars. Who should buy the Cayenne? Anyone who wants the single most credible badge on this list, real driving joy, and Porsche build quality for the price of a used Corolla. Anyone who's ever wanted a Porsche and told themselves, someday is now, and it costs 25 grand. Who should skip it? If you can't afford one surprise repair without panicking, or you won't pay for the pre-purchase inspection, this isn't your car, buy a boring crossover and be happy. But if you'll do it right, there is no more car, no more badge, and no more driving experience per dollar on the entire used market than a clean second generation Cayenne. If I had $25,000 burning a hole in my pocket and I wanted to feel something every time I turned the key, I'd buy the Porsche and I wouldn't think twice. So there they are. 7 luxury sport utility vehicles that turned their first owners' bank accounts into confetti. The Audi Q7, the BMW X5 V8, the Lincoln Navigator, the Mercedes GLS 550, the Maserati Levante, the Range Rover Sport, and the king of them all, the Porsche Cayenne. Somebody paid full price so you don't have to. That's the whole game with luxury depreciation. The first owner takes the bullet and the smart second owner gets a 6-figure machine for compact car money. But remember the golden rule that ran through every single one of these. Cheap to buy is not the same as cheap to own. Every one of these will reward a documented history and a proper inspection, and punish anyone who skips them. Buy the paperwork, budget for the maintenance, and you'll be the person cruising past the dealership in something that costs 6 figures new, smiling, because you know exactly what the guy who bought it new had to give up so you could. If this saved you from an expensive mistake or helped you find your next one, hit that like button and subscribe. I've got a video coming next on the luxury cars that don't depreciate, the ones that actually hold their money. And you're going to want to see which sport utility vehicle made that list. Drive safe, get the inspection, and I'll see you in the next one.